Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right, going to work, checking things off your list, staying busy, but somewhere inside something still feels missing, like you're moving, but you don't really know where you're going? Maybe your calendar is full, maybe you're productive, maybe from the outside your life even looks pretty good. And yet late at night when everything goes quiet, a small voice inside you whispers, "Is this really it?" If you've ever felt that quiet ache, you're not alone. And honestly, I think that ache is trying to tell you something important. Today, we're talking about something that touches almost everyone at some point in life: purpose. What it actually means, why it's so hard to find, and how you can start living with more clarity and direction, one small step at a time. And don't worry, this isn't going to be one of those vague, just follow your dreams talks. We're going to break this down in a real, practical way, and along the way, I'll teach you some useful English words and phrases too, so you're improving your English while you're improving your life. Sounds good? Let's get into it. Before we go further, if this is your first time here, welcome. I talk about English, life, and personal growth every week, so if that sounds like something you need, hit subscribe. It really helps this channel grow. Okay, let's talk about purpose. So what does purpose even mean? A lot of people think purpose is this one big, dramatic thing you're supposed to discover, like a hidden treasure buried somewhere in your life. But honestly, I don't think that's true. Purpose is simpler than that. Purpose is just the reason behind what you do. It's the why underneath your daily actions. And here's the important part: purpose isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it grows slowly without you even noticing. I remember a time in my life when I felt completely stuck. I had a stable routine: wake up, work, sleep, repeat, and from the outside everything looked fine. But inside I felt disconnected, like I was just going through the motions. One evening I sat down and asked myself a simple question: if nothing changed, would I be okay with this in 5 years? And the honest answer was no. That moment was uncomfortable, but it was also the beginning of something. I realized that purpose doesn't just appear one day, you have to go looking for it little by little. That small moment of honesty changed the direction of my life. So let's talk about the first big lesson. Lesson 1: purpose is not a destination, it's a direction. A lot of people wait for one perfect moment where everything suddenly makes sense. But life doesn't usually work that way. Think about it like walking through fog. You can't see the whole path ahead of you, but you can see the next few steps. Purpose works the same way. You don't need to know your entire future. You just need to know which direction feels a little more meaningful than the one you're in right now. I used to think I needed a 5-year plan before I could take a single step. But here's what I realized: clarity comes from moving, not from waiting. The takeaway here is simple: stop waiting for the whole map. Just take the next honest step. Lesson 2: purpose often hides inside your struggles. This one surprised me. We usually think our hardest moments are just obstacles to survive. But if you look closely, a lot of people's purpose actually comes from something difficult they went through. Think about someone who struggled with anxiety and later became a mental health coach. Or someone who felt lonely as a teenager and later created a community for others who felt the same way. Their pain became their direction. I've noticed this in my own life too. The moments that hurt the most taught me the most about what I actually care about. So here's the takeaway: don't just ask, how do I get past this struggle? Ask, what is this struggle trying to show me? Lesson 3: purpose grows when you focus on other people. This might be the most important lesson in this whole video. A lot of people search for purpose by looking only inward. What makes me happy? What do I want? And those questions matter. But purpose becomes so much stronger when it includes other people. Think of it like a small flame. Kept alone, it can flicker and go out. But when you share it, when your actions start helping someone else, that flame grows bigger and steadier. I remember helping a friend through a really hard time just by listening and encouraging her. It didn't feel like a big achievement at the time, but afterward I felt more connected to my own life than I had in months. The takeaway: purpose isn't just about finding yourself, it's also about being useful to the people around you. Sometimes we overcomplicate this. We think we need a huge platform or a big project before our lives can matter to others. But usually it starts much smaller than that: a kind word, a bit of your time, a little patience on a hard day. Those small moments add up more than we realize. Lesson 4: you don't need one big purpose, you can have several in different seasons of life. This idea took a lot of pressure off me personally. We often imagine purpose as this one giant mission we're supposed to find and follow forever. But real life isn't that rigid. Your purpose at 20 might look completely different from your purpose at 40. Think of it like the seasons of a year: spring, summer, autumn, winter. Each one has its own role, its own beauty, its own reason for existing. You're allowed to grow, change, and shift direction as your life changes. The takeaway: give yourself permission to evolve. Purpose isn't fixed, it's alive, just like you are. Lesson 5. Clarity comes from action, not from overthinking. This might be the hardest lesson to accept, especially if you're someone who likes to plan everything perfectly before you start. I know I used to be that way. But overthinking almost never gives you clarity, it just gives you more questions. Action, even small action, gives you real information. You try something, you notice how it feels, and you adjust. Think of it like turning on a flashlight in a dark room. You don't see the whole room instantly, but as you move the light around, more and more becomes visible. The takeaway: you don't need to feel ready. You just need to take one small step and let clarity catch up with you. Now, since this is also an English learning video, let's go over a few useful words and phrases from what we just talked about, so you can use them in your own conversations. The first one is fulfillment. This means a deep feeling of satisfaction, especially from something meaningful. You could say, helping others gives me a real sense of fulfillment. Next is to align with something. This means to match or fit well with something. For example, I want a job that aligns with my values. Another useful phrase is to go through the motions. This means doing something without real feeling or energy behind it just because it's routine. You might say, for years, I was just going through the motions at work. We also used the word restless. This describes a feeling of being unable to relax, often because you sense something needs to change. For example, I felt restless in my old routine. Next, meaningful. Something meaningful has real importance or value to you personally. You could say, I want to spend my time on things that feel meaningful. Another one is the expression to catch up with you, as in, clarity will catch up with you. This phrase means that something will eventually reach you or match your situation, even if it's a little behind at first. Next, to settle for something. This means accepting something less than what you actually want. For example, don't settle for a life that doesn't feel like yours. And finally, a clean slate. This phrase means a fresh start with no past mistakes attached to it. You might say, every morning is a clean slate, a new chance to move in a better direction. These are all natural, everyday expressions native speakers use, so try using one of them in a sentence today. Pick just one and use it in a real sentence out loud right now. That's how it becomes part of your natural vocabulary. Okay, so now you might be wondering, what can I actually do with all of this? Let's make it simple and practical. First, today, take 5 quiet minutes and ask yourself, what moment this week made me feel most alive? Write it down. That feeling is a clue. Second, instead of asking, what is my purpose? Try asking, who can I help today in a small way? Purpose often reveals itself through action, not thinking. Third, pay attention to your struggles. Ask yourself, what is this difficulty teaching me? Instead of only asking, how do I escape it? Fourth, give yourself permission to change direction. You are not failing if your purpose looks different than it did a year ago. And fifth, before you go to bed tonight, take one small step towards something that feels meaningful to you, even something tiny. It could be sending a message you've been putting off, learning something new for 10 minutes, or simply telling someone you appreciate them. Purpose grows through small, honest actions, not perfect plans. Let's quickly go over what we talked about today. Purpose is a direction, not a fixed destination. It often hides inside your struggles. It grows stronger when you focus on helping others. You're allowed to have different purposes in different seasons of your life. And real clarity comes from action, not endless overthinking. If there's one thing I want you to remember from this video, it's this. You don't need to have it all figured out today. You don't need a perfect 5-year plan or a dramatic life-changing moment. You just need to take one